We want to welcome you and thank you for joining us as we are chatting with our chairs here. You can watch this video on your own time as you're, I'm sure, busy at your business. So we wanted you to get to know our outgoing board chair and now our incoming board chair as we pass the gavel. Typically, we would be at our annual dinner in July doing this, where we hear from our outgoing board chair all the successes and all the things we've accomplished in the past year, and pass the gavel to our new incoming chair. But we don't see any tables and decorations and yummy catering here. This is in our conference center, and we are just doing this very casually. So under unusual circumstances, but very excited to have Mike Stanger and Jeanette DeWitt with me here today. Just to share with you a little bit about, look back on 2019 and then look forward to the future. And so I just want to introduce Mike Stanger to everyone and just say thank you so much for this past year serving. We got to see up front and center your passion for the community, and you led with great humility, welcoming people's thoughts and energy into the space. And so we just want to say thank you and turn it over to you to share a little bit about this past year.
Appreciate that. So we started off that term with great news. We were the 2019 National Chamber of the Year. Lots of momentum, lots of excitement. And a few weeks in, we had the unfortunate news of Briggs & Stratton closing. The incredible opportunity there in our community to rally around those that needed us most was, I think, one of the great things that we were able to see and experience in our community. And we got to see that again, unfortunately, in response to the pandemic we find ourselves in now. Two of the many reasons why I'm so proud to call Murray home, and still believe it is the greatest community in our country. So very happy to pass the gavel officially, though, to Miss Jeanette DeWitt in the most capable and deserving hands. So confident in her ability to continue to lead us this year.
And it's great to see two realtors coming together to work together. And really that's, the Chamber does that. We help bring industries and sectors together, competitors together, to really look at the 30,000 view level of our community and how we can help grow the local economy at that level. So the gavel has been passed. You've led your first board meeting. So share with us a little bit about what we can expect from you this year.
I do not have the official data from that first meeting, Mike, but I do believe I have a record for minutes that we were actually in session as being the lowest.
Debatable.
Official count's not in yet, but we will be tallying. It's an honor to serve in this capacity. If you go back, if we were actually at the dinner, which so many people in our community look forward to, not just because it's a dinner, but that's a night that we honor Murray and Callaway County. We honor the businesses, small, mid-sized, large. We honor someone in our community that was an outstanding citizen. We've had through the years a couple of different awards that's come out just sporadically, and so everybody just looks forward to that. But the other thing is, if you look on the back of that, there's two columns, and it's past chairs and past Citizen of the Year. And Mike, your name is now on there, and my name is going to be on there, and that's a huge, huge thing, because we do carry a lot of weight for our members and for our community of things that we know are happening, and trying to keep up with the pulse of what's going on, not just here, but through the state, and kind of bringing that back here. So I've been honored to sit in this room and have you chair it. I always pick at you because if you've ever sat in here, he always says fantastic, and you've done a fantastic job. You do a fantastic job in real estate. I'm always privileged when I get to work with you, or if you're doing an appraisal or something like that. We have a really good relationship outside of this boardroom too. So Mike, if I could follow up anybody, it's going to be some big shoes to fill, because we've had a lot of stuff, you know, talking about the Briggs announcement coming right after Chamber of the Year. We'll tell you, in real estate, we thought that was going to be a huge impact, and it was very minimal. Very thankful for that. And then we roll into 2020, and we had this pandemic come, and it's just been a lot of hurdles. There's not all bad. I think that's something we talked about a minute ago. Not everything has to be the negative. Let's find the positive. We're so good as human beings on looking and focusing on that negative, but let's find the positive. You know, one of the things that we started in 2019 was the 2019-2020 Leadership Murray class. They may be the 5-year class, but they are still a great group of people that started out. They had a great year, and we just haven't been able to finish it yet. But will we? Absolutely. And they'll be great for it, and they will have a story to tell. Michelle's class has a big joke about they never got to graduate officially, and so we always pick at their class. And so the 2019-2020 class is going to be the longest continual class going on. And so you look at those things of what binds them together. But we'll finish it at some point in time. We're going to look at the positives. We're going to look at some good things. And I don't know when you want me to start talking about what my initiatives are as we're moving into this new role, but we'll get there. And if you want to reflect back, whatever you want to do at this point. But Mike, thank you so much. Thank you not just for what you have done in this room, but what you have always done in this community. You've always been one of the front runners. If something's a need, you will look at it and go about it. So very honored to serve in this position. So,
well, one thing we talked a lot about is we set some goals, and I'm sure all businesses have set some goals, and then we've had to pivot, you know, and we talked about at our last annual dinner that, you know, we have a lot of things and successes, but we don't want to stop there. We want to continually be better for our members. And we talked a lot about that at the dinner last year. And that was a pivotal time. None of us would have predicted a pandemic, and we've had to pivot. And, you know, the Briggs shutdown was a pivot for us. You know, we tried to partner with economic development and our local nonprofits to provide those critical resources for all those who were involved in the layoff. But the chamber stepped up, and we are stepping up still now during this pandemic. So maybe you could share ways that we've had to pivot a little bit through 2019 and how we've seen people come together.
Yeah, and I think the community's response is the thing that I continue to go back to, is that, yeah, we keep seeing curveball after curveball, it seems like, over the last 12 months, and we have certainly, pivot is a great word, we have certainly had to look in different directions for information, for what's coming next. We're coming up with multiple plans based on any number of scenarios that that come our direction. So it's kept us on our toes, if nothing else. But our community has been up to the challenge. Our community has been excited and anxious to support local businesses, large and small. So I just applaud our community for continuing to utilize their own resources, time and money and talent, to making Murray as great as it can be. And so that's been spending money at local restaurants and local boutiques. It has been investing time in volunteering. It has been investing talent in those same opportunities. Again, I'm just encouraged by our community's response. Certainly we're not perfect. We have our faults, but I'm encouraged over and over again, and why I continue to call Murray home.
I remember we did our video several months ago just to spread some positivity and help highlight a few businesses. And I remember as we were filming you talked about how the people are what make this community. You know, we get to work with businesses and members, but it's really the people behind those businesses that make this place so special. Can you share just a little bit about, I know you both are lifelong Callaway Countyans, so just talk about how the people are what motivates us even at the chamber.
Oh, absolutely. And I think Mike and I have great jobs that we get to work with so many different people. And for me, what I get to do is it's not hard to sell somebody on living here. Mike stole my line because I always say, if you go back and look at that video, I'm so thankful this is my hometown. I think it's the greatest place in the U.S. From traveling all across and have dear friends across the state of Kentucky, and I'm always like, come to Murray, because once you do, you're going to fall in love with it, and the people are going to absolutely wrap you in their arms and take you in. You know, when you look back at things that people have needed through the years, it doesn't matter which business you own. It doesn't matter what you do here. It does not matter if you were a local or a transplant or you just stop through. If you have a need, I have never seen a community that would come together like Murray, Kentucky. We've had some real tragic things happen, and people step up. We've had some really good things happen, and people are always there to celebrate. And so that's what I think is one of the most amazing things about here. It's just a great place to have a family. This is what you want your kids to see. There's no greater tool than to go out and see people together that have absolutely no connection to each other that will do that. And one of those things that we talked about earlier was Callaway County Collective. When that started up during the pandemic, Mary Buck, who was on that video, you got one person who had a vision, who had a goal. And you know what? We've all said the chamber's not going to do everything perfectly. We have talking about pivoting. You know, sometimes when you're like doing a plan and you're having to do something, you might do like a 180-degree turn. I feel like we've been doing 360-degree spins, like, you know, the people that are in figure skating. I feel like that we're just in that axle just spinning, because constantly, every time that you think you have one thing that's going to help this, it's like, no, we can't do it that way. And so you may have to pivot from the pivot. And you have those people like Mary who looked and said, I can't fix everything, but I can do the best I can. And from one small seed, she has done a really good job, and she is learning, and she is doing differently on different things that different people need, but she's getting the word out there. You know, Needline is a great resource for this town. Always has been. Know tons of people that have served on that board. And when the community said, what is something that somebody needs? Well, donate to Needline, because they can get to those people when we can't. And so I'm still, if somebody asks, go to Callaway County Collective, go to Needline, go to your local churches. These are the people that I know from being here for so long. They're going to help you. We're just a different town. And it's not a bad thing. As we said earlier when we were here talking, you can look and find one negative that will absolutely derail something, but there's so much positive. Pandemic, don't want it for anybody, but has there been good things that's come out of it? Yeah, I hope some of us have slowed down a little bit and kind of taken some priorities back of family and being at home. So, is there bad things? Yes. Do we want one business to not succeed? No. That's what we do here. We're here for the businesses. We're here for the business community. Are we going to get everything right? No. We're human. But we're going to do the best we can. And if you come at us with something, we may have to pivot a few times. But I think we're going to try to get a solution.
We talked a little bit about, I'm sitting here actually with two chamber members, businesses. Tell us a little bit about how the chamber has helped your businesses, and even how like through the pandemic, or some things that have stood out to you that you have maybe heard other businesses say, hey, the chamber really helped us do this, or a benefit that we've started that has been really helpful.
I think the chamber has been the focal point of communication and information, especially during the pandemic. And that information is changing and updated almost daily. And so if I ever have questions on what is coming as far as business information is concerned, the chamber is always the first place I look. And so I think above anything else, being a standard for the information, certainly changing, but that's the place you go if you need questions answered, big, small. You look to the chamber.
I think one of the things that was very helpful when businesses were getting ready to start reopening, everybody was concerned about 3 letters that you had to have, and that was PPE. And Michelle was great about getting those resources out about if you needed to order to get masks or hand sanitizer or all those needs, because everybody was panicking, like, how are we going to get this stuff? Because if you went locally, everybody was sold out because people were using it. If you went to Amazon, it was sold out. And so those resources, I think, were really great because they knew that they had to have those things to open back up. And so easy links to click on, you can order it, and it was reasonably rated as far as price and stuff, but things like that, or questions. I think the biggest thing, and I could be wrong, Michelle, unemployment. How to file for unemployment. I know that people were calling us and
calling.
Yeah, and asking.
It's a challenge.
And you do the best you can, but I think that we've pumped out everything as you got it from Frankfort and so on and so forth. And the Kentucky Chamber's been great about relaying that information that they were picking up from Frankfort and sending in. But I think that was a huge conversation piece, and still is unemployment. How do we file for it? Where do we go? What do we do? And I think that we tried to stay on top of that as much as we could. I think also getting the PPE out so that people could open back up was a big thing. I think just following the regulations on what was recommended from the CDC and the governor and so on and so forth, because we had a lot of other things that was being passed on to the state of Kentucky as opposed to other states of things that they wanted us to follow. So I think that Haley's back here. You can't see her. She's manning the video. But I think between the two of them, they've done everything that they can to keep you involved. I will say we only have so much control on if you open an email. And I think that's across the board with any organization and so on and so forth. We can pump everything out. We can do videos. We can do emails. But you also have to watch it and you have to open them. And if there's another way to do something, we're all ears to it. Haley's done a great job trying to do the Wednesday updates for local businesses since we've opened back up. They went around to local businesses. I know one of the things that we really want to promote and push, September's here. How did that happen?
It's 2020. I mean, how did anything happen?
I mean, I felt like Sleeping Beauty, except I didn't wake up again. But I was like, September is here. How did this happen? But we're wanting to promote local because it's a different dynamic as we're moving into the fall months. And shop local, eat local. You know, I think we did a really good job when it was like Takeout Tuesday, post where you're going and what you're doing on Tuesday. Well, school's back in session now, whether it's distance learning or you're actually back in the classroom. Everybody's kind of in a different phase, but, you know, back to school shopping, is that not different this year? I mean, I felt like that I didn't have a clue what we were doing, and I have a freshman. I was like, just throwing him out there. I mean, I don't know, here's a piece of paper and a pencil, and I hope you have some clothes you can wear, because it was just different this time. It's just a different feeling. But, you know, now getting back in kind of like a routine, I think is kind of what we're used to. It doesn't matter if you're distance learning or if you're in the classroom. It's a routine now. And so in that routine, shop local, eat local, support local. And I think that that's something that from this point on, we're really going to be focusing on to finish out 2020 really strong. And then just try to figure out, like, what's January going to look like? What's 2021 going to look like? Because talking about that pivot, we may have to pivot again, and that's okay. But local is what we're trying to really, really get across to people.
And you guys both hit on, you know, the chamber is, we try to connect people, and we use that word a lot. Connect people to information that will help their business, connect them to each other so that they can network together, connect them to businesses, connect the community to the businesses so that they can get more customers, more clients. We want people to think local before they go online or go out of town. And so the chamber does whatever we can to promote think local, go local, shop local, eat local, all of those things. And so we just want to promote our members, but also we want businesses to connect to each other so that they can utilize each other for supplies and for services before they go out of town. And so that's one thing we focus on. And another big conversation in communities is this topic of workforce. You know, we're all, you know, young professionals in our community. We see baby boomers retiring all the time. Some of these businesses that have been here forever, you know, are changing leadership. And so the chamber has been interested in really helping engage with workforce solutions. How can we make sure we retain employees here, recruit students here, go into the schools and teach them about what job opportunities will be here in the future. And one program we had hoped to launch this year was our LIFT program, Leadership Initiative for Teachers. I know, Jeanette, you had a really big part in that, so we had to postpone it, which is, I feel like, TBD. I know, TBD on everything, you know, to be determined and as we pivot. But we were really excited about that program, weren't we?
So, talking about pivoting, that probably, I'm a huge fan, and I help coordinate Leadership Murray. It's given me some of the best relationships that I have. So I'm going to put that plug out there when we get back to going. It's just a great program, but the relationships that you get from it are even more amazing. We all still stay in touch, my class does. But we sat at this boardroom table, and I had 2 teachers contact us, 2 elementary school teachers that were like, hey, we really want to do Leadership Murray, but we can't do it because we're in the classroom. And they were like, but we have an idea. And I said, okay. And they were like, but we want to talk to you and Michelle. Okay. So Michelle and I sitting here, and they came in with their clipboards and their Post-it notes. And Mike, I've never seen 2 more happier individuals.
Elementary teacher, very pretty.
It was
outlines.
And Michelle and I are just like, whoa. They were excited though. And the big joke after that is they thought that Michelle and I were just going to kill that idea. Be like, no. But the way that Michelle and I looked at it from doing Leadership Murray and coordinating all of it is, you know, they were ready just to dive in the deep end. Michelle and I are up here like testing out the water with our big toes just to see how it felt. But as we started making phone calls and reaching out to people, both school systems here locally were 110% supportive on their teachers to get out in the community and to see what they need to be educating those kids in the classroom for. Murray State was behind it. So we had this program developed and ready to launch and ready to go, and so much
Businesses supporting it.
Oh, everybody was supporting it, to making sure that childcare was provided for these educators to be out there, but also so that they could see what local industries were needing, so that when they're going back and teaching these kids in the classroom, we're preparing them. You know, I think one of the biggest things, and from having a freshman in high school, we've always been huge on education. But not everybody fits into this one box. Not everybody's a cookie cutter. And Mike and I will both tell you from what we do on a day-to-day basis, we need these people that are not the ones who are just going to go sit in a classroom. We need the ones that are going to go out and be your contractors, to be your electricians, to be your plumbers. We are missing that here because he will tell you, if you have something that needs to be done, you're on a waiting list. And so the educators are wanting to make sure that they're preparing the kids that are here in Callaway County and in the city of Murray to go out and find jobs and be productive and to retain those kids here. So there's a huge part of me that out of everything besides not graduating the Leadership Murray class, it's that Lift did not get to launch, because there was a lot of planning that went involved in it. And it was just going to be a great program, and it was going to be something new, and it was going to be something different, and we were doing it here. And other people were going to start paying attention to it, and you were hoping that that snowball effect would happen across the state, because it's important. I mean, so to be determined, but it will happen.
It will happen, and talking with the schools, I know they have a lot on their plate right now. We're hoping to launch that in 2021, which would be the summer of 2021, so stay tuned on that. But yeah, so we try to connect members to lots of resources, like we said, through email, so make sure to open those. Through communication, we started the What's Up Wednesday with Haley. When all the pandemic started, we had signs created for you to put at your business. We had promoted Shop Local, Go Local, Eat Local. We're trying to work on workforce programs and leadership programs for the community. And one thing that we're used to doing is events. So we had our first ribbon cutting last week, and we were so excited to celebrate with businesses that are opening. And we've seen so many businesses that are new here in Murray opening. So business is still happening, businesses are still opening, and we want to be there to celebrate with our members when they open, when they have an anniversary, when any celebrations happening. We want to celebrate.
We'll take any milestone at this point.
Yes, and so looking to the fall, you know, we kind of looking ahead, you know, we had planned some strategic planning, which didn't happen due to travel restrictions and things like that. The person that was coordinating all of that we weren't able to make that happen. And we haven't been able to make events happen just because, you know, we can't have in-person events, and we're used to hosting guests, and those guests can't travel. So there's just a lot that goes into no events. But we miss people, we miss that networking piece. So here at the Chamber, we will be looking ahead and following the pandemic guidelines from the governor's office. And as soon as we can have events again, we will be so excited to host those and get people back together. just that social element of meeting each other and networking. I know everyone hates the word networking, but we see now more than ever that value. And so we are so excited at the Chamber when we can start hosting events. But this fall, we're excited. It's one of our favorite times of the year. And we got to talk about how we can even promote Shop Local and Go Local even more so through the holidays. So any words on that of things that we're looking forward to, maybe brainstorming ideas on how to promote Go Local and Shop Local even through Holiday Open House and some of our other things, and any thoughts on what kind of the fall holds for Chamber members?
I think that we've discussed we're going to try to focus on maybe 1 week we're talking about go visit your favorite restaurant, eat local, and hashtag it, and we may do a little something to spice that up just a little bit. To make people do it, because we do want to see what you're doing with your family, and we do want to see where you're going to eat, and we do want to know what your favorites are, because I don't know about the two of you, but I kind of get in a rut when I go to a certain place that has certain things that I like, and I don't ever try anything different. So sometimes it's nice when people are like, oh, this is my favorite thing at such and such. I think we're going to do that with restaurants. I think we're going to do that with local businesses as far as boutiques, and we're going to hopefully promote them and get their word out on maybe something that they're doing special for that point in time. I know people look so forward to Black Friday shopping. I've gotten old and don't. And this year that's going to be different. And so whatever that they're wanting us to promote and try different spins on it, we're obviously more than happy to do that. But I think as we start moving into September and October, be looking for the whole shop local, eat local, spend local, stay local. I think that that's something that we've really kind of been spinning around, and you were talking about people have certain words like networking. One of the ideas has been virtual. We know that everybody's worn out, and so we are trying our best to do something virtually that really is beneficial, not just something that's just, hey, we're doing it to say we're doing it. So when we tell you that we're going to be doing an event virtually, please don't think it's just because we're trying to do a checklist. We have really been sitting here in the back side of this thing trying to give you something that's very beneficial. We don't just want to do a Zoom meeting or a virtual meeting just to say we did it. So if you have some ideas, please send them this way, because we are more than happy to do that. I know in the spring we always look forward to Women in Business. We had to cancel that. So fingers crossed. We're so ready to do things again and be around people again, but at the same time, we're going to do what we need to do to keep everybody safe.
Absolutely. And we talked about that. We've, even Haley and I have been talking about thinking outside the box. So there's only so much outside of the box when you're in the middle of a pandemic to where things just become ridiculous. And so we had thought of some of the craziest ideas for events. And then we had to think, okay, that's not even realistic. So we appreciate everyone's patience with us, and as we support you and your business. Any final thoughts? Passing the gavel. I know you're kind of excited, and you move off the board next year too, so we're gonna lose that. But any final thoughts that you can leave with fellow chamber members?
I'm encouraged by our community. I'm encouraged by our businesses. If we can do anything to help support you, please reach out. If we can help coordinate anything for you, we want to be here to do exactly that. So thank you so much for this opportunity, and looking forward to the next 12 months.
We're just happy to be on the hot seat.
Yep.
I will just say publicly what I have said privately to the board. Several years ago, friends of ours, we started picking a word of the year, and we have went through words such as grateful, blessed, thankful. Love was this year's for many different reasons, and I think it couldn't be a better word for 2020 to live off of, because you gotta love. And you got to love deep sometimes to look past some imperfections. But I charged the board with a word this year that we're going to, as far as I am chairing, I want us to be intentional. I want us to be intentional about what we say. I want us to be intentional about what we do. I want us to be intentional about what we're planning, not just, as we said, about the virtual stuff. I want it to be intentional that it's going to be helpful. We're not just going to be doing something just to say, check the box. I think so much this year is a knee-jerk reaction from people to where if you ask a question, they're just going to spout out something really, really quick. And for the people that sit in this room on this board, and for Michelle and Haley, and for myself as far as leading that room, I want us to be intentional about what we're going to do. And I want us to be intentional about what we're going to say, because I have found out that you may never ever forget what somebody says to you. And it can be something that was just a really quick reaction, but you can look at that person for years to come and an apology can be made, but you'll never forget what was said. And so I want us to be intentional as we move forward. 2020 has been a very difficult year for a lot of different reasons. Personally, I could go off on a whole tangent, but I'm very grateful to be sitting here, and I'm very blessed, and I'm very thankful. But intentionally moving forward, the Maury-Callaway County Chamber is going to do everything we can to serve this community. We're not going to be perfect. We never will. And please, give us some grace. Give Michelle and Haley some grace. None of us have ever went through any of this before. But the one thing that I hope that we leave after 2020 is over is to say, we got better. We did things better. And hopefully we're all a little bit better for it. As we said at the very beginning of this, you can either focus on one negative or so much positive that can come from it. And not everything's positive, and not everything's going to be good. That's just life. But I hope we're intentional about, before we answer a question or before we get on Facebook and we post something that can be extremely hurtful. And we do want your ideas. And maybe at the end of this year, we can go back and do the top 25 list of the most crazy ideas that we thought would be great. And then we were like, no, it's not going to work. Maybe we should do that, because, boy, we have tossed around some things in here just because we want to serve and we want to do, but at the same time, we want it to be beneficial, and we also want it to be safe. So I look forward to this term. It's definitely not what we thought it was going to be. I did miss our big gala that we look forward to with everybody all dressed up and nice and everything. But you know what? 2021. Just keep looking ahead and we'll keep pivoting. Maybe that should have been the word. Forget intentional. Maybe we're just going to pivot.
It reminds me of the movie or show Friends. Yeah. Pivot. Maybe that'll be our word.
Sundays I felt like we were trying to get the couch up some stairs. But I think that that's the only thing we can do is a great song. We're going to rise up and we're going to be better. But I don't think that we're too awful as we are.
You know, that's one thing we always talk about at the chamber is we want to be the best community to live, work, and play. And, you know, that's what we're going to focus on. Our mission is to serve our members, to enhance our community, but we strive with the resources and the time and energy that we have and we can manage to focus on those things, making us the best. And we want to be the best for our members. So thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate our volunteers. They volunteer their time, effort, energy every year to be on this board, and we are thankful to serve as the staff in this capacity, but thankful for our volunteers and our leaders who are helping set the direction for our organization. So have a great day.